begin with the devastating flood in Niger State, where the National Emergency Management Agency says the death toll in the Niger State flooding rose to at least 150 on Saturday. A spokesman for the agency, Ibrahim Hussaini, said the sharp increase from the previous death toll of 115 came as bodies were recovered nearly 10 kilometers away from the town of Mokwa, the epicenter of the floods. The total of 3,000 persons have also been displaced, leveling more than 250 homes and washing away 2 bridges. Now, the update comes as President Bola Tinubu said he had directed the activation of the National Emergency Response Center in the state. The president said his directive was necessitated by the briefing from the National Emergency Management Agency on the need to scale up urgent humanitarian responses to meet victims' needs. In the same vein, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has delivered essential relief items to provide immediate succor to those displaced by the disaster in Mokwa. This was disclosed by the Director General of NEMA, Mrs. Zubaida Umar. The relief intervention, according to Umar, is part of a swift and comprehensive response by NEMA to the unprecedented flood, which has tragically claimed over 100 lives, damaged homes, and affected livelihoods. Umar noted that based on an on-site assessment conducted on Friday by the NEMA team led by her, no fewer than 100 bodies have so far been recovered as search and rescue operations continue. The Permanent Secretary of the Niger State Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, Barrister Mairo Mohammed Mang, joins me from Niger to look at the damages caused by the flood and what the state government is doing to address the challenges caused by the flood. Welcome, ma'am, to the news.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Now, looking at the tragic scale of this disaster, can you provide a detailed account of what immediate actions NEMA has taken since the floods began, and also the challenges that you have faced in deploying aid effectively?
Thank you very much. Well, as we all saw on the national television, NEMA came on hand. The response was apt. And in conjunction with NEMA also, the Niger State government, ably led by the Deputy Governor, His Excellency Kamil Idris, and the Commissioner for Humanitarian Affairs, Environment, and some major stakeholders in Niger State went there to see for themselves and to do a first-hand, assessment. And we must say that yes, the damage was quite devastating. It has never happened in the history of Niger State, and it has shocked everybody. But NEMA was there at hand to provide some basics at that moment and promised to do more. And Niger State itself, the humanitarian ministry, through the able leadership of His Excellency, will definitely also contribute their own bit. But as it is now, the Niger State government has also sent trucks of food items and some relief materials at the moment, particularly food, and more will be sent. In fact, as I speak to you by Monday, again, the First Lady of the state will also be visiting the place. So we are aware that the damage is enormous. Like as at now, about 151 bodies have been discovered, and still ongoing.
Oh, okay. Now, you did say that, this has never happened in the history of Niger. And we also understand that bodies were found nearly 10 kilometers from Mokwa. Now, does this suggest a failure in early warning systems or evacuation planning?
Well, I wouldn't say completely no, but like I did say, there was heavy rainfall, which we cannot attribute to what has happened. We have poor erosions already. But like I said, it came and swept everything, unprecedented, unexpected. So there is still a problem of response to early warning, that is asking people to relocate. But in this particular area of Mokwa, this has never happened. So honestly, we don't even know what explanation to give to this. But definitely there is very poor erosion system, which the government is working towards seeing what it can do, especially the federal government. But I don't know. I don't want to say. I will even say that it's beyond the human understanding because it came and swept everything at once. The rainfall was there, but not to this magnitude that will have caused this havoc.
Okay. Now, President Tinubu has also ordered, the activation of the National Emergency Response Center. Is it possible for you to walk us through how this activation changes the scope and scale of the response?
Yeah, of course. If it is activated, the early warning system will work faster and more effective because the indicators will be very clear to show what is coming, what is going to happen, and then the preparedness for it will be more. So if it is reactivated, it will go a long way, I'm sure, in alleviating this kind of, even preventing this kind of occurrences by the grace of God.
All right, ma'am. With more than 3,000 displaced people and over 250 homes destroyed, what is the long-term recovery plan in terms of resettlement, rebuilding, and also restoring livelihoods of these citizens, considering that Niger State is actually flood-prone, even though we didn't predict the magnitude of rain that, that befell it a few days ago?
Well, like we all know that the humanitarian service is not a one-man show. It's not just for the government. It's for everybody's business. But as it were now, we have a lot of philanthropics, some of them, and some organizations, even UNICEF today, visit there, and we are expecting more to come. And what we are looking to provide a temporary tents and accommodation, because where they are staying probably is just presently is just a primary or is it a secondary school, which cannot accommodate and does not even have the facilities to accommodate the displaced persons at the moment. So there is plan to get temporary tents to give them a temporary shelter before we organize and see how we can get a permanent solution.
Okay. Well, I think with that, we'd actually have to wrap up this interview. But thank you so much, ma'am, Barrister Mairo Mohammed Mang, for joining us, Permanent Secretary, Niger State Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, for joining us and speaking on this.
Thank you very much.
Away from that, President Bola Tinubu today, Saturday, fulfilled a decades-old vision, commissioning the first completed 30-kilometer section of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway at Jakonde Estate in the Lekki corridor of Lagos. Now, this milestone, part of the 700-kilometer superhighway connecting 9 coastal states, promises to transform Nigeria's transport landscape and boost economic growth. Alongside Tinubu, virtually inaugurated 10 other major road and bridge projects across southern Nigeria, including the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway and East-West Road. Our correspondent is monitoring the event and will be giving us details later. Now, as News Central investigates the circumstances surrounding the killing of the Divisional Police Officer of Rano Division, CSP Baba Ali, tensions remain high in the community. Armored police vehicles have rolled in and heavily armed officers have taken over the area as residents continue to express outrage over the incident. The Kano State Police Command has confirmed the arrest of 41 suspects in connection with the attack that led to the DPO's death while on duty on Monday, 26 May 2025. Meanwhile, News Central is looking into disturbing new claims about the slain officer. Full details coming soon. Also earlier, our correspondent Emmanuel Bagudu joined us live from Rano. Let's bring you his findings.
Just about investigating the man called Baba Ali, who was killed by the community members in Rano. And of course, police officers have taken over the entire community, causing tension, intimidating youth as they claim, and then telling them that they are going to take over the community according to what the youth claim, making them look feel so inferior. But of course, due to the incident that happened, that was the killing of one of their senior police officers, talking about DSP Babali, the DPO in Reno. Now, we went investigating to know who the DPO was, what was his lifestyle in Reno that led to his killing. Of course, I received a lot of phone calls. I received a call from Bauchi. I received a call from Kafanchan. This same man, according to people that called me, was a DPO in those two states, Kaduna and Bauchi. And he allegedly was a ruthless person that actually, does not believe in innocence, innocence before being proven guilty, and tend to tarnish the image of the police by, allegedly by torturing a suspected arrested offenders. And the youth are not missing whatever they are saying. They are saying that this gentleman has been a thorn in the flesh, has been a pain in the ass for the community.
61 new suspected cases of cholera have been recorded in Boko's local government area of Plateau State after 3 deaths were earlier reported among the victims. Now, Plateau State epidemiologist Dr. Marin Job, during an exclusive interview with News Central's Chizoba Nyongwe Jos, added that 4 of the victims are currently on admission in the health facility where they are recuperating. As cholera thrives in unhygienic environments, leaving infected people with uncontrollable passing of very watery stool, members of the public are urged to maintain high level of self and environmental hygiene. The state government and other key state actors have been challenged to put measures in place to control the spread of the disease in the state.
If the patient presents early, and is being rehydrated well, the patients have high chances of survival. It's deadly when the patient presents late, because what kills people from cholera is dehydration, severe dehydration. So if there is no fluid replacement in that patient as early as possible, that can kill the patient so fast. And then electrolyte imbalance too can also cause death of the patient.
When you get fruits, it's very important that you soak it in salt water for some few minutes, and after which you wash it thoroughly before you consume.
The washing of our hands, we shouldn't throw it away. COVID-19 has gone, everybody is just like that. So there are still some things that we must make sure that, we embark.
Very unfortunately, this thing is happening in the raining season, which is not good to the public. But I know the effort of His Excellency Barrister Caleb Mutfwang, by the grace of God, this issue will be tackled.
Coming up after the break, immigration officers hand over Levi Obieze to Lagos police. We'll bring you details of this and more shortly. Join us again. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the House of Representatives has vowed to investigate both the immediate and remote causes behind the midnight conduct of the West African Senior School Certificate examination in parts of the country. Chairman of the House Committee on Basic Examination Bodies, Oboku Ofoji, made this known during an interface with officials of the West African Examinations Council at the National Assembly, stressing that Nigerian parents deserve answers as to why their children's safety was put at risk. Representing WAEC at the hearing, Senior Assistant Registrar and Zonal Coordinator Ambrose Okelezo informed the committee that the head of WAEC Nigeria could not attend due to an emergency meeting with the registrar and other heads of national offices. His explanation, however, was met with strong rejection from committee members.
Monies were being appropriated for the conduct of the examination by Parliament. As a committee, we demand explanation. We do not need to cry over a spilled milk. But as I said earlier, measures must be put in place to make sure there is no future occurrence. He's not competent to speak to us, he's not competent to speak to us. Because there are myriad of issues ranging from the fact that people in my village, where government has never remembered, there is no house in my village that has electricity, had to write exams up to 12 a.m., 1 a.m., and they were calling me from the village, to the issues that your logistics failed. You will leave your question papers in Keke, commercial driver, and we're using it to carry passengers from Rumokuta to Rumola. You have failed. I don't know why for a country of over 200 million Nigerians, government cannot have competent hands to handle simple issues like that. I don't know where they got this incompetence from.
Away from education, popular native Dr. Levi Obieze, also known as Ide Show, who was apprehended while attempting to flee the country, is now in police custody and facing serious charges related to kidnapping and ritual killings. The suspect was handed over by officers of the Nigeria Immigration Services and has been transported to Enugu. News Central's lead correspondent Bernard Akede reports.
As the saying goes, another one bites the dust. Popular native doctor Levi Obieze, widely known as Ide Show, was intercepted by operatives of the Nigeria Immigration Service while allegedly attempting to flee the country on a motorbike.
The suspect, a native of Umuojo village in Iziagu community in Enugu State, is wanted by the police Enugu State Command for alleged involvement in the abduction of a 30-year-old girl and ritual killings. He was identified via a National Identity Management Commission card slip that was found on him, and he has made self-incriminating statement during profiling.
Obieze, who has been on the radar for crimes connected to kidnapping and ritual killings, was immediately handed over to the Lagos State Police Command. Items found in his possession include an ATM card, 2 smart mobile phones, and the sum of 70,000 naira in cash.
I want to start by saying we are glad that the effective synergy between the Nigerian police force and the immigration service is working, and we are taking it to higher level. And this is what informed the handing over of this principal suspect to us today. The suspect is Obi Levi Obieze, who is wanted by the Enugu State Police Command for heinous crimes and capital offences that he has committed. And this tends to show that we're on the same page and trying to sanitize the country of criminality and other heinous crimes.
Speaking to journalists, both the acting zonal coordinator of the Nigeria Immigration Service and the Lagos State Commissioner of Police assured the public that the rule of law will prevail and urged Nigerians to support security agencies in the fight against crime.
Gentlemen of the press, I want you to know that intelligence could be gotten from even the pages of the social media or the newspaper. If you have active intelligence or actionable intelligence and they are properly disseminated to Nigeria Immigration Service, you could be sure that our officers are vigilant and they are proactive. They will be put on notice, and if you have such a person declared wanted, you can be assured that such a person will be apprehended.
That is not the first time that we have this level of cooperation and synergy. In fact, for so many cases that we have worked together on, the Nigerian police force and immigration have been able to bring back to this country, or arrest them before they get out of the country, of wanted suspects across the country. And we continue to strengthen this cooperation to ensure that anybody that committed crime anywhere in this country are apprehended before they get out of the country, or where they are getting out to work on this synergy together back into the country for investigation and prosecution. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The handover and subsequent transfer of Obieze to the Enugu State Police Command marks another collaborative success among Nigeria security agencies. The hope for Nigerians now is that justice will prevail in this case. In Lagos for News Central, Bernard Akede.
Away from that, the governor of Taraba State, Abu Kaifas, has revealed that his sister, Atsi Kaifas, was killed by one of the police escorts in the vehicle they were traveling with. Now, the governor was speaking at a town hall meeting to mark his second-year anniversary as governor of Taraba State, where he insisted that the state is no longer on the sideline, but leading with discipline, technology, and human face. This is the first time the governor is speaking about his sister's killing since last December, when reports emanated that she was killed by bandits who mounted a roadblock along Wukari Kente Road. According to him, a preliminary police report revealed that she died as a result of severe gunshot injuries sustained from shots fired by one of the police escorts in the vehicle. The governor said that the investigation is still ongoing to ascertain the circumstances surrounding the incident and ensure that justice prevails. Now we move to the FCT, where children in the Gwalada community located in Abuja Municipal Area Council have been identified to lack basic amenities, including access to schools, hospital, and several others. Now, this was made known by international non-profit organization Action Aid Nigeria as they visited the community to mark the International Children's Day. Children were identified to trek long distances to neighboring communities through dangerous bush paths just to get basic education. News Central's Bettina Ngweli reports.
This is the uncompleted building in Gwalada community where over 100 children manage here to get an education or a semblance of an education from the volunteer that comes from outside town to make sure that these children are not left entirely without an education.
The Gwalada community is located in the Abuja Municipal Area Council of Abuja, though several kilometers from the city center. Despite having over 200 children of school-going age who can best be described as vibrant and intelligent, many of these young minds have no access to basic education, proper health care, and several others because the community has no schools and hospitals.
Education is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. With a school here in Gwalada, our children will learn in safety and dignity. Parents will have peace of mind knowing that their children are close by and protected. The community will grow stronger, more united, and more informed. The FCT will benefit from a more educated populace.
Get children plenty now. We not get school. I beg with the beg government to may help us. Don't come. We not get hospital for you. People plenty way don't do that because the time when they go bomb picking.
She's really ashamed of herself, and the reason is not because that she don't know how to read, but it's because there is no school and she have not been exposed. So she's here, the way she's seeing how everybody is looking at her, she's shy, and so that is what is making her difficult to speak in English. And so she's also saying that if the government can help them to get school here, that will go a long way. And then
many of the children are forced to trek long distances to neighboring communities, often through bush paths across unsafe roads, just to obtain the most basic education.
The absence of a functional school within the Gwalada community has resulted in children having to travel long and unsafe distances daily to access education. This challenge disproportionately affects girls, exposing them to numerous risks, including road accidents, harassment, gender-based violence, and exploitation.
We came to this community. There was not anybody to come to the community. So we came here during the recession. Then I now saw the children in this community. There was none of them that was able to even say, understand, come or go. And for that reason, I now asked the community leaders, what happened to these children? They said there is no school.
Education is not a gift to be dangled in the air for political gains. It is a basic human right, and it is the hope of the people of Gwalada community here that the government will see into this situation, look into it, and make sure that these people have schools, hospitals, and every right, basic, that they need. In Abuja, Gwalada community, for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
As Nigeria tackles high youth unemployment and a widening skills gap, the federal government is strengthening its push for vocational education. At a recent press conference, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, reaffirmed the administration's commitment to expanding technical and vocational education and training as a tool for national development. Our correspondent, Sumaya Abubakar, reports.
A major shift is underway in Nigeria's education strategy, placing technical and vocational training, TVET, at the center of economic recovery and job creation. The Minister of Education laid out government's plan to reposition TVET as a priority for national progress. The minister also announced the modernization of technical colleges with new equipment, revised curricula, and deeper partnerships with industries.
We're incentivizing our youth to get life skills. We will pay them $22,500 every month. Their tuition fee at those skill technical centers, those vocational enterprise institutes, and also federal technical colleges and state technical colleges.
TVET is not just another sector of education. It is the backbone of our national progress. It turns potentials into purpose, impacting millions.
But challenges remain, especially around perception, access, and funding. Experts say more awareness is needed to show young people and parents that vocational education is not only viable, but essential.
We must move beyond long-held assumptions that success only wears a suit or speaks English, and embrace the truth. The real progress is prosperity and dignity come from skills, not just certificates.
It is about reducing unemployment because everybody cannot be civil servants.
TVET is the engine room of all nations. As long as the manufacturer of motor vehicles continue to produce cars year in, year out, in different models, we will definitely need the artisans.
Technical and vocational education and training is being positioned not just as a training option, but as a long-term economic strategy to reduce reliance on white-collar jobs and unlock innovation at the grassroots level. With implementation now in focus, the government is betting on skills to drive inclusion growth, create jobs, and future-proof Nigeria's economy. In Abuja, for News Central, Sumaya Abubakar.
Moving on, it is essential to emphasize the importance of promoting and protecting the rights of all children, including those living with disabilities. For these children, this act will serve as a vital reminder of their rights and needs, which are often neglected or overlooked. News Central's Omolola Ololade has more in this report.
Children's Day is a day the world celebrates the pure joy that children bring into the lives of parents, guardians, teachers, and the entire society, while highlighting the importance of protecting their rights, including those living with disabilities. Despite their physical challenges, these children have talents and dreams that transcend their disabilities.
I want to be a musician because I like singing.
I want to become a specialist.
It is on this premise that the Raising Star Africa Foundation, at its annual Children's Day event, celebrates children with special needs while focusing on their strengths and potentials, while promoting a culture of inclusion and acceptance for children living with disabilities.
We decided to celebrate children living with disabilities to showcase their abilities. So that's why the event name is called Disability. That means we are focusing on their abilities, on their strengths, on their potentials, on what they do differently not what the society expects them to do, irrespective of the disability.
There's ability and disability, and more often than not, people with disability are left behind. So as a government, we're doing a lot of advocacy, a lot of empowerment, a lot of, creativity. We're trying to be creative around what we do.
What if the next big idea is trapped behind a voice that has not been given the opportunity to speak and be heard, right? We're very, very passionate about not just celebrating Children's Day with people living with disabilities, but also celebrating potentials.
For parents and teachers responsible for nurturing these special kids, they have learned to look beyond the challenges and focus on their strengths.
There's the medical challenge, there's the financial challenge, there's the educational challenge, there's the stigmatization, there's the social acceptance. There's so much, the emotional, psychological challenges. But each one has its own, strengths and what have you.
As a special teacher, we were able to handle them, to bring out the talent in them. You can see the theme of this year children's celebration is this ability. The ability in them is what we are bringing out.
While this day celebrates the potentials of children, it also serves as a reminder for the importance of protecting the rights of children, including those living with disabilities, and creating a more inclusive and accessible world for everyone. In Lagos, for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
The ECOWAS Commission has taken a major step towards tackling drug abuse across West Africa with the development of a new digital platform to strengthen data collection and regional response. Now, the platform, part of the West African Epidemiology Network on Drug Use, is expected to centralize drug-related data from all ECOWAS member states and serve as a powerful tool for evidence-based policy. Declaring open a 3-day validation workshop for the 2024 Wendu report in Abuja, ECOWAS says the platform will enhance coordination, analysis, and dissemination of drug data across the region.
This platform underscores ECOWAS' commitment to strengthening regional cooperation in combating drug abuse and its associated consequences, contributing to improved public health and security across West Africa. The platform is envisioned to be a robust, secure, and user-friendly system that caters for the diverse needs of its users, facilitating a more coordinated and effective regional response to drug-related issues.
Timely and actionable data that will reflect the magnitude and patterns of drug use, and will also enable us to design informed, effective, and sustainable responses. It is our belief that our ability to build strong, coordinated mechanisms for surveillance and reporting will be key to shaping the future of drug prevention and control in ECOWAS member states.
Coming up, protesters in Libya call on Prime Minister Dbeibah to quit in third weekly march. We'll tell you more in a moment. Join us again. Away from Nigeria and to North Africa, hundreds of protesters gathered in Libya's capital for the third consecutive week to call for the resignation of the UN-recognized government of national unity led by Abdelhamid Dbeibah amid social discontent and political and security tensions. Libya is split between the UN-recognized government in Tripoli led by Dbeibah and a rival administration in the east controlled by the family of military strongman Khalifa Haftar. The North African country has remained deeply divided since the 2011 NATO-backed revolt that toppled and killed longtime leader Muammar Gaddafi. National elections scheduled for December 2021 were postponed indefinitely due to disputes between the two rival powers. The recent unrest came after deadly clashes between armed groups controlling different areas of Tripoli killed at least 8 people, according to the UN.
احنا لينا طبعا في المظاهرات ثالث جمعة لينا هذه لإسقاط الحكومة. ليش نسقطوا في الحكومة احنا؟ لأن الحكومة جبناها باش تدير وحدة وطنية وباش تنحي الغلط اللي كان يعني في الحكومات اللي أسبق، لكن لقينا الوضع تأزم أكثر وأكثر، يعني ما درتلناش حل.
أتينا في هذا اليوم والجمعات السابقة لنعبر عن رأينا، كانت لدينا مطالب شرعية طالب بها الشعب الليبي.
الأولى هي إسقاط حكومة الوحدة الوطنية. حكومة الوحدة الوطنية عاتت في ليبيا الفساد المالي والإداري لا يخفى على الجميع، هو موجود في كل المؤسسات. أيضا تفكيك الميليشيات المسلحة ورفع الدعم عنها، المطالبة بالجيش والشرطة، وأيضا المطالبة بانتخابات فورية ومستعجلة.
In other news from around the world, tensions are high in South Korea as thousands of protesters flooded the streets of Seoul this weekend, just days ahead of a snap presidential election. Demonstrators were split, some waving national flags in support of ousted President Yoon Suk-yeol, others demanding justice after his controversial declaration of martial law. The snap election was triggered after Yoon's decision to impose military rule faced nationwide backlash and was widely condemned as unconstitutional. Security forces remained on high alert as rival crowds chanted competing slogans. With the country deeply divided, political observers say the outcome of Tuesday's vote could redefine South Korea's democratic future. Voter turnout is expected to be high amid the ongoing political crisis. In business, the 5th annual MSME and Startup Summit, hosted as part of the Economic Forum series, brought together a vibrant mix of industry leaders, innovators and entrepreneurs to focus on the transformative theme unlocking inclusive growth for informal MSMEs. Now, the summit underscored the urgent need to integrate informal micro, small and medium enterprises into Africa's formal economy. News Central's business correspondent Juliet Rowland was at this event and filed the report.
A central theme of the 5th annual MSME and Startup Summit was the urgent need to extend financial inclusion, expand market access, and accelerate the adoption of digital tools for underserved micro, small, and medium enterprises.
We've found out through studies to understand that cash flow is really the heart of an SME.
Digital transformation also took center stage as industry leaders stressed the need for agile tech-enabled solutions that meet the realities of today's markets.
For informal MSMEs to grow, they need accessible, reliable infrastructure.
Still, participants acknowledged that bridging the gap between bold policy proposals and tangible on-ground impact remain a major challenge, particularly in aligning government and private sector efforts.
What we need in this country is for policies that are in alignment with the needs of the people.
The conversation also turned to Nigeria's long-standing dependency on imports and the need to reindustrialize through homegrown productivity. The summit also featured a high-level panel session where experts and stakeholders discussed actionable strategies to overcome these barriers.
You know, with all these 50 billion naira, 75 billion naira interventions, but they need to do more in terms of providing seed capitals, in terms of providing more interventions, and then also to be part in terms of blended finance.
The summit also spotlighted the vital role of the media in sustaining the visibility and advocacy needed to champion MSMEs across the continent.
Let's shake this nation and make the people know that it is possible for you to have a voice and to have a platform that will make it impossible for the policymakers and those who make the decision that affects our lives but yet do not feel our pain, that they will get to hear our troubles and they will have no choice but to listen, hear us, and take action.
As the discussions wrapped up, attention turned to implementation and how to sustain momentum beyond the events.
For us, it's not just about, it's not just a talk shop. The idea for putting up events like this is that at the end of the day, the dialogues are very actionable. So in terms of the communique that we put together, so a post-summit report will be done and will be shared to, to all the relevant stakeholders, particularly, like I mentioned, the public, the government representatives, so that decisions that are taken at that level, will reflect, on the productivity and the performance of the MSMEs going forward.
As the summit concluded, one message stood out: unlocking the potential of informal and small businesses will ensure Africa's MSME sector truly moves from survival mode to becoming a true source of inclusive growth. In Lagos for News Central, I am Juliet Roland.
In the world of sports, Mozambique has made a decision to drop veteran captain Dominguez from their upcoming friendly against South Africa on June 10th. The 40-year-old goalkeeper, known as Elias Pelembe, will not get his farewell match in South Africa after 15 seasons in the Premier Soccer League. Dominguez played for SuperSports United, Mamelodi Sundowns, Bidvest Wits, and Royal AM from 2007 to 2023. He was named Player of the Season in 2008 and won 4 league titles. The veteran missed Mozambique's last 2 World Cup qualifiers in March after failing to submit his passport on time for visa applications to Egypt and Algeria. Coach Sinquinho Conde heavily criticized Dominguez's tardiness at the time. Also missing from the squad are striker Jenny Katamo, who helped Sporting Lisbon win Portugal's league and cup double, and defender Reinildo Mandava, who's preparing for the Club World Cup with Atletico Madrid. Paris Saint-Germain and Inter Milan lock horns in Saturday's Champions League final, with the French side hoping to win European club football's biggest prize for the first time, and the Italians are in their 4th title. Luis Enrique says Paris Saint-Germain are determined to make history and win the Champions League. Captain Marquinhos looked ahead of an intense showdown, while teammate Ousmane Dembele says the team is taking it very seriously. Inter Milan, on the other hand, are prepared for the highly anticipated final. Captain Lautaro Martinez says his focus is solely on making club history rather than chasing the Ballon d'Or.
Hacer historia representa hacer algo que nadie ha hecho anteriormente en un club tan importante como el Paris Saint-Germain. Es algo importante, pero a la vez intentamos gestionarlo para que no nos supere esa excitación. Yo creo que el equipo, hoy me ha encantado el entrenamiento, cómo veo el espíritu de los jugadores. Yo creo que estamos preparados, sin ninguna duda. El Inter también, no hay dudas de eso. Y vamos a intentar que se vea una muy bonita final y, por supuesto, intentar ganarla.
È una squadra che è prima in Europa come possesso palla, quindi è una squadra di grandissima qualità. Noi lo siamo primi nel nostro campionato, siamo tra le migliori in Europa, quindi chiaramente bisognerà fare una partita dove dovremo giocare bene tecnicamente, dovremo cercare di avere un buon palleggio per fare in modo di...
Well, that's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that federal government has mourned victims of Niger flood and launched relief efforts to displaced victims. We also told you that House of Reps has rejected WAEC delegation following midnight exams and insisted on meeting head of national office. Finally, you heard that hundreds of protesters in Libya are calling on Prime Minister Dbeiba to quit in 3rd weekly march. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.